there, and welcome back to the History of Fleetwood Mac. I'm Anita. Today we're going to continue Volume 18, Episode 9 of my Fleetwood Mac and Stevie Nicks scrapbooks. And I would like to preface this video with dedicating it to a dear friend of mine named Bill Mortimer. Bill Mortimer was a really big Stevie Nicks fan, and he and I went to many shows together. And towards the end of, before he passed away, we kind of lost touch. He would reach out and send a little text or something like that, but we just didn't really keep in touch anymore. And I felt really bad about that. Of course, you always do when you lose somebody. And we're coming up on a year that he's been gone. He passed away March 25th of 2025. March 15th, I apologize. And I just can't believe it. And I had these pages put together. I actually redid them because I had more photos. But I found some other photos from other concerts we had gone to, which I'll bring them up again in the future. But it's bittersweet seeing them because I just can't believe he's gone. He was a really big Fleetwood Mac and Stevie Nicks fan, and had seen them since, long before me. And probably not as many, probably as many shows because he started earlier, but not as many like one-offs. But I know we were together at the Stevie Nicks birthday bash in at the Wiltern. He wasn't there for the signing in Santa Rosa, or the In Your Dreams, but I think he went down to one in Southern California, and just all the time. And we would just keep in touch, and we would keep each other up to date with as much Stevie Nicks stuff as we could. He worked at a really cool place in San Luis Obispo, and he lived in kind of like a neighboring town called, I think it's called Atascadero, and he had a lot of connections and knew a lot of people there. He was there his whole life. And so he was really hoping that when Stevie Nicks came around, he might be able to like get us passes or something like that. He mentioned something like tickets, but I knew tickets we could get on our own. But of course, passes would be a miracle. That would be freaking amazing. And he had met her once or twice prior to this. So again, didn't really hold my breath, but it was fine. Don and I packed up and we went and stayed with them, and we just had a phenomenal time. Some other friends joined us. The show was amazing. Hanging out with them was amazing. We just had that whole show is one of my better memories. More so now, of course, because we've lost Bill, but just really in whole, it was just a lot of fun. I really learned about birds at that time. I think it was that trip where I learned about birds. Maybe it was another trip. It was pretty funny. He was really a big fan of birds, and he had the same bird like Stevie, the white, is that a cockatiel? I can never remember the breed of birds. I've never been much bird person, but I remember staying with them one time, and the bird like got hold of my finger, and I thought I was just going to lose that finger. It was crazy. But when you get to know them, they're very sensitive to having like an owner or one person. And when you get to know them a little bit, it's pretty neat. And he, like I said, he just had a lot of birds and stuff, but just funny stories, lots of memories with them. But yeah, sure enough, she showed up at that fair, and I just couldn't believe it. Now, this fair is really popular. It's the California Mid-State Fair, and it gets a lot of people. It's a big, is it a rodeo? I think it is a rodeo, but I know there's a lot of, there's just a lot of activity there, and there are a lot of big names that show up every single year. People I've never really been interested to see, but I mean, Stevie Nicks, I was just kind of surprised that, she did show up there. The whole place literally smells like shit there. I mean, it's, it's animals. It's it's a fair. So that was a downside, and it's, freaking July 26th, so we're just right in the middle, and you're kind of a little bit more, out in the valley and such like that. So just a little bit warmer and a little bit more. That smell is really in the air, but it is a really nice venue, and it's really fun to walk around and, just like you do at a fair and stuff like that before the show. I was able to get floor seats, which was amazing, row A, section 6B, and we were just there right in the center. I actually have one picture that's not posted here, but I usually don't do this, but it's where Don and I turned, looking out this way, and Stevie Nicks is in the back right between us, thankfully not looking at us, because I hate when an artist catches people doing that. But yeah, there was some and I got these were great shots. I was really happy about that. So without further ado, this is my dear friend Bill here and I at that show. And did I start that conversation and stop it? I think I met Bill first at the dress rehearsal for Fleetwood Mac in 2003. I want to say that he and Jason had attended other shows, but they would just show up and it'd be like, oh my God, hi guys. And, and then we just, finally exchanged numbers and made contact and stuff like that. So, yeah, just really awesome. So this is a good shot of Bill and I, great shot of Stevie. This pass, I want to say that it was given to us. I don't know that but I didn't get to meet her. He did get to meet her again that night. I did not get to meet Stevie, and he was then able to take me back. And it wasn't really like, I really just didn't bank on it, so I wasn't really just kind of hanging on to him, if that makes sense. everybody gets a turn, I think. And, I certainly didn't want to jeopardize it by trying to hang on, and then it jeopardizes his opportunity to get a chance to meet her again. What was funny is that he's really also an amazing pianist, and he had taken the Belladonna songbook, which is just like his little Bible, because he just really, has played it all, and he's had it many years. And I think Stevie Nicks has signed it either once or twice, the cover maybe and something inside. And he asked her for her autograph, and he says, "Oh, I got one here earlier, then something, but could you sign this page?" And she says, "But you've gotten my autograph already." So basically, like, "No, I'll pass," is what Stevie said, which is funny as hell. And he came out, he was just kind of like, "What?" Like, she wouldn't sign it, but she really just said to him, "Oh, you got one already, so what do you want?" And he wanted the same book signed, so I don't know what Stevie thought, like, would he rip out a page or something like that? But he was pretty pissed at himself. If he just kept his mouth shut and just opened the page, she would have been none the wiser. So that was kind of funny. But he did get to meet her. He got a great picture with her that night, so that was kind of cool. This was a great shot of the band at the end. They're a little bit further, because Stevie sings right up here, so it looks like they're a little further back, but it's pretty clear. Once again, why do I forget this? Oh, I can't do that. I'm sorry. Nice shot of Stevie there. These are some friends and I that I have lost touch with this one, but when I talked about being at the San Francisco Oracle show, this friend that I'm with is one who got us the tickets. But then that is me. I don't know. I don't recognize me, and Dawn wouldn't recognize herself either. Neither of us look like this anymore. We would like to look like this again. And then, after the show, might have had a few drinks. That is me holding a big old bottle there. And these are the friends. I should have marked them out, but you can't really see them well. Let's see here. Just as a courtesy. But yeah, that was pretty funny there. I like this picture too. So then I'll take this out so you can see. I had my friends blocked on the plastic, not on the picture. So this was I love we got an article about it with this great picture of Stevie. It looked like this was prior to the show, but it sure looks like something that was like taken at the show. Obviously she's the same lighting system, but if you look at this picture taken at the fair, and then you look at this one, it looks like something from that night. And then she literally somebody said something to her, and she's like, "At the fair," which, if people who know, that's a demo song titled "At the Fair." So her just singing a line of it, for those who knew, we just lost our collective mind. And I redid this page. This page was kind of hokey, but I found I had in my possession all these cute little things in this paper, like there's cotton candy and stuff. And I thought it was so cute. I thought, oh, I'm going to make this look more like a fair, like tickets. And so it was really fun to redo this page and to find the others. This one that I had of my friends and I hadn't had that in there. Yeah, these were really crisp and nice shots. I think so. I'm not bragging. I just think I took some really nice shots. It's a shame this is kind of wrinkled like it is, but then I actually have a lot of pictures from the show, but I really just kind of did take the best and make the 2 pages out of it. I could probably make one more, but I really liked how these turned out. I like the colors that I did. I kind of like how the matching, kind of goes and, kind of comes together, but not, and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to leave it as it is. This was possibly Dawn's ticket. I don't know why I end up having a lot of people's tickets. No, this is row G. This could have been one I found. Who knows? Who the hell knows with me? Again, with the whole fair things and stuff like that. And then I think isn't it at the Something Beautiful Doll? At the fair, Beautiful Doll. So it kind of comes together like that in the pages. That one I really like. And then lastly, I want to say after the show, or maybe this is 8/29/07. So yeah, a while after the show. Well, yeah, almost a month. There was a thing in the paper, and it brought up Stevie Nicks. Literally, just mentions her about how the sales from the fair, the music things, have really helped the fair, and just really the attendance has gone up, just really helped the economy in that little town and stuff like that. So it's cool to get this little article. Again, it barely mentioned, literally just says by name. But I mean, bands have been there. It says it spent 2.8 million of a total operating budget of 6.6 million on entertainment, the most ever. Entertainers included Aerosmith, which sold out the main grandstand arena, as well as Bob Dylan, Martina McBride, Godsmack, Rascal Flatts, and Stevie Nicks. And so those are, some are good big names. And Bob Dylan too. I mean, that's just kind of weird. I mean, I don't know. Bob kind of did the circuit things like that, way back when, but still. Yeah, I really like these pages. They're colorful and fun. So this was the show where I really, 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 we got front, in the front and stuff like that. And I wish I had brought I should have brought the other ones out. I apologize. But when we got out there, yeah, you're front, but like there was a barricade. There was a serious barricade. So we were looking up, which is the best example of that. There really isn't. We were looking up at the stage, looking up at it, because there was like a thing that came all the way out. Like she was back a little bit as well. And there was no way in hell. There was just absolutely no way in hell that we were getting a stage walk. And it really just kind of set in at that moment, like, oh God, this is over. And I was really, like I told you guys, really perturbed. I might have kind of mentioned it before, but like it was really on this stop in Stevie's career that we're like, that is gone. That is not happening anymore. There's not going to be a one-off. It's completely turned off. No edge walk. We had already lost Sharon coming to the mic singing, during Edge 17, but just edge walks were not happening. And I mean, yeah, they kind of have since, you know what I mean? And, or she'll pick up things and stuff like that, but just really like the conscious, like that's part of the show, that's gone. And I was kind of perturbed. I was just, you're always excited. It's just a moment. Still hadn't met her, and it's just something that you get at the time, and there's that, and there's just that chance where she's just going to be right in front of you and stuff like that. But it did not deter from the show. But it was just really in my conscience. It's just something that I think of, like, we realize. Sometimes you'll look back on something and be like, oh, that kind of stopped happening or something like that. But it's like this night where I'm like, no more. We're done with that. She's not doing that. Not only because she wouldn't have been able to. She wouldn't have been able to come out that far. But just that's not something, probably for safety, number one, and also it's hard to do that, and people are rude. I told you my story at the stormy weather. I mean, I didn't feel at all that I pulled, or I certainly did not pull, but I held on. How about that? And other people can just kind of not be thinking kind of like I did that night, and she could hurt herself, she could fall off or something like that. So it makes perfect sense, but nonetheless, it's just kind of a bummer. But that is my story. I didn't think it would be quite this short. I kind of wish I had added more pages or more pictures, because they all came up pretty nice like this. But there are going to be times, like I said, and I've kind of started doing this and kind of started getting it ready, where I'm going to do kind of like flashback, volume blah and extra pages that I've made, because again, we're never finished here. We're not finished. It would take me a good other year if I sat down every night and just completely finished it. Then possibly this mess on the table would be done, that mess in the closet, this mess behind me, everything would be gone. But that's literally if I sat down and did 2 to 3 hours a day, and that's not happening. Even with all the spare time I have, it's not happening. So I put together a big, collection of my clippings. I have over 124 pieces for this lot that I'm putting up and things like that, just trying to clear up my copies and do stuff like that. So yeah, just trying to thin it down and get what's important to me in these books. So this is one that I'd redone and did the extra page with more pictures. So I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. I don't know where I'm going with the next one, so you'll just have to see. Thanks for joining me, and please come back again. Everybody have a great night. Bye.